This is how to get her thinking about you non-stop. Hi guys, I'm Apollonia Ponti. I'm your dating and relationship coach, founder of ApolloniaPonti.com. And in today's video, we are going to talk about exactly that. And I'm your coach for you men to master your attraction skills, build confidence overall, so you can get and attract that woman that you desire. Now, I'm going to really dive deep into how to get a woman to think about you nonstop. And this is the way that you're going to differentiate. And this is the way that you're going to differentiate yourself from other men out there. I'm going to give you some key tools as a woman myself and speak some truth to you. Now, I want you to understand that how to get a woman to think about you nonstop is by how you feel about yourself, but also the emotions that you're able to deliver. So what exactly are the emotions that you have to deliver, you might be asking, right? So I'm going to show you there's that. So one key tool that I want you to understand here is understand how to have conversations with emotion, okay? Not the Hollywood story emotion, meaning, I've wanted to have a girl like you before and I just love your brown hair and I want to just be and hop into la 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 land and have a relationship with you. That's not what we crave, okay? The emotions that we desire is we want to have an imbalance, a roller coaster of emotions. What does that mean? You're going to toy with her emotions, throw her to the side and play games? Hell no, that's not what I'm saying. And the reason why I'm bringing these two things up is because there's a lot of stuff out there that will tell you to do this. And this is not, you're going to attract an insecure woman if you do that. But if you want to attract a really high value, hot, beautiful, whatever it is that you want, this is the way to do it in healthy relationships. So understand that your conversations have to be based on emotion. So for example, you can share something with her. You can share something funny. Like for example, my brother, when he was growing up, he went to my boyfriend's house and he literally tried to beat up my boyfriend. And so the next day I wanted to get even with him. Every morning I used to cook him breakfast. And I put so much laxative in his milkshake that when he got in the car, let's just say it wasn't pretty. So I got even. So this is like a story that can also be a little funny, but also be like, oh my God, this girl's, a little crazy probably. But then yet you can bring some light into it, and then say something like, but, my brother was an amazing guy and he still is to this day and he's taught me so much. Do you see how we're bringing the funniness aspect? And I'm giving you myself as an example so you can share a personal story or whatever you want to do that. I'm bringing funniness to the aspect of this conversation, so that's an emotion. I'm bringing love. I'm bringing understanding. I'm bringing another sense of emotion where it's like what I like. And that's another sense of emotion. That's not funny, that's passion, compassion. Right? And then I might be telling a story of what you guys can tell a story of, let's just say, for example, I had a client that did this perfectly. And he was talking about how he was always a devoted brother to his sister, but also how he would mess with her and things like that. So he went from funny to being loving, but to also making her question something as well. So we're giving her a mixed emotions here, and I'm going to go a little bit more into this, but understand that your conversations should not be monotone, right? And that looks like you agreeing with her, you letting her lead the conversation, you not sharing something about yourself that could be funny with substance and bringing that emotional component into the conversation with a woman. A lot of men get into friend zone because of the fact that they're stagnant with their emotions. They're stagnant with their stories. They're stagnant because they're scared about they're scared that if they share vulnerability, that they're going to be seen as weak. But let me tell you, stories being shared is not vulnerability if you're coming from it with abundance. Sharing stories and complimenting women come from scarcity or lack or doubt is placed wrong when you come from that aspect. So going into this, let me share tip number 2 is when you're doing this and you're sharing the mixed emotions, the stories, the highs, the lows, the making fun of her, the creating banter with her, maybe even giving her a nickname or sharing a personal story of love, funniness, and then maybe heartache, right? Like something that you've went through before if you were in the military or something like that. Understanding that your emotions have to be thrived on a conversation. When you understand that your emotions have to be thrived from a conversation, you also understand that you have to make her feel different. That's why I'm talking about that roller coaster effect. Share little things here and there, be funny, but then yet maybe share something inspiring about your life and how you got there, how you motivated to open up a 5-figure business or whatever the case may be. Now, tip number 3, now that we have this story, the emotional aspect of how you're going to be talking to a woman to get her to think about you nonstop, is you're also understanding the conversations that you're supposed to have and why. But now we have to understand the effect of your emotions in response to your voice. Now, guys, I don't want you to think, because I see this all the time, oh, this shit is complicated. Oh, why do we got to do all this stuff for women? That it's not even about women. It's about even telling a story, right? When I step on stage to give a speech, what do? I make my audience feel emotion. What do I do with you? I'm making you feel emotion. How am I doing that? Because look at my tone of voice right now. Now I'm more powerful than I was probably a minute ago, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. And I've said this before in my other video. When you start to escalate, and I talk about this on how to escalate with women, when you start to say something like a sexual innuendo, when the time is right, of course, when you start to embrace that into the relationship, you want to talk with passion, but also happiness, right? And then you want to talk with calmness and then go back to normal, right? There's a mix of emotions that you're giving this woman. I want you to think of it as an experience that you're giving her. It's about the experience because of the fact that we're going in a roller coaster of emotions. When we tell the stories, when we conversate with her, we're also in our dialogue changing our tone of voice. So when we change our tone of voice, we start to get attention. We start for that woman to gravitate towards us, and we start to become calm, cool, collective, and then you talk about something that you desire, that you're passionate about, and you're happy, and you start making fun of her, and you create comedy, and you give her the mix of emotion. This is vital to creating that component that a lot of men are missing, guys. And that's why I'm trying to break this down for you here in this video. And then the next tip is give her the roller coaster effect. Now, all of this is tips that I want you to start doing on your dates with women, okay? And here's the roller coaster effect. I like to call this, in the black book and pickup industry and stuff like this, they call it nagging, right? But this is not what I'm talking about, because I also don't want you to put down women. This is not a way to get high quality women. It's not a way to really get women to respond to you in a positive manner, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I want you to understand, as a woman, I'm giving you some truth here. And I know the tools that I'm giving you right now are going to work with women, but there's an element of the roller coaster effect that is AKA called in the pickup industry as nagging. And what I want you to understand is sometimes, not all people, not all pickup artists, because there's some great ones out there that I work with, but they will take it to the extreme and put down a girl to an extreme, where it's like her self-conscious and her self-emotions go all the way down, and then they give them a high with a compliment. And yeah, it captivates a woman, but that can be very insulting and disrespectful. And also it does not dignify the self-integrity that you hold as a man. So I'm going to give you a personal example of what happened to me when my fiance and I went on our second date, and that I remember till this day because it still bothers me. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys as a woman. Now, this is what I mean about the roller coaster effect. The guy is into you. You guys are feeling each other. He's giving you mixed emotions, his storytelling. He's giving you all these things that I'm talking about in these tips, right? And then my example sets in of the roller coaster effect. On my second date with my now fiance, and I'm into him actually. I really do like him. So I asked him a question, and these are the one of the questions that women typically ask when they start to finally somewhat like you, show interest in you. And I asked him, so what type of woman do you usually like? Like, what attracts you? What look typically attracts you? And the first thing he says is blonde hair, tall, and blue eyes. Completely opposite of what I have. So what do? I go into, oh my God, is he gonna like me? Oh my God, I like him. Like, what the hell? I wanna be blonde and blue eyes. Oh my God, but what the hell? Why is he even on a date with me? And then we start to get crazy. And then he tells me, and he boosts me with a compliment. But it's not a compliment about how my looks. It's a compliment of something that I've worked for. And it's about my integrity and how I hold myself as a woman. He says to me right after that, he goes, but with you, I like you because I like the way that you hold yourself as a woman. And that right there, guys, is the ultimate icing on the cake, because he complimented me on something that I had to work for. Maybe looks you do have to work for, but sometimes looks come naturally, right? So how you get to the core of a woman is by doing these things, which is also created and called banter, right? So that is so, so effective, in which I talk about in my How to Escalate cheat sheet, and I talk about this banter effect. Another cool thing that I have a lot of my guys clients do when they're starting and creating this notion is I have them tell a woman off the bat when they're getting intrigued and she sees that she's responding and she's into him, and he sits back calmly and says, "You're not the girl that I thought you were." And of course the girl's gonna be like, what does that even mean? Like, what was the girl that you thought I was? And then we go into proving, we go into qualifying. And I talk a lot about this in that cheat sheet. We go into qualifying and we ask you, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Every woman will say that. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, what girl did you think I was? Along the lines of that. And then you sit back and say, don't worry, it's a good thing. And then she is reaffirmed. You're qualifying her again. This is called the roller coaster effect. So what we start to do, and men lose attraction and they don't go on their second or third date or get a woman to be attracted to him, is we're coming in with this monotone effect and we're not delivering emotions. We're not delivering connection. And I've done a video about connection through eye contact, which I'm going to put in the cards, and I want you to watch this after this video. Now, the next tip after you do the roller coaster effect is understand in your mind that what women really want is a challenge, okay? We want the guy that is going to be the one that has standards for himself and that is somewhat hard to get. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna play games with her and be hard to get, but you're going to come from integrity and she's gonna know that you have standards and she's gonna constantly try to qualify herself for you because of the fact that you deliver and you show her that you're a good man and you create that space to show her what you can offer. And the women that don't see this, when you do what the techniques that I'm talking about, are the women that are probably insecure, not ready, unstable, blah, blah, blah. And that's when you say goodbye. And that's where you don't let these things happen to you and you don't let women get in between your emotions and you start mastering women. And when you start mastering and understanding women in the quote unquote game, but really it's EQ and IQ. And it's really about understanding the logic behind how we think and creating that moment so you can be the guy that we start thinking about nonstop. And the next tip about this is a lot of people will say, oh, tell women that you just want to be her friend. Okay, so this I do say in my friend zone product, but you typically friend zone a woman when she friend zones you. Because there's some men out there, I think, that I've heard from my clients that say you should friend zone a woman all the time. No. I'm going to be very real with you. If you are dating a woman that is looking for a relationship and that is looking for something and is coming from self-integrity and has a lot of self-worth for herself, the very confident woman, but also the high-quality woman that respects men, right? That's the woman we want. But when you put her in the friend zone, she's not going to be able to take you seriously and she might not devote your time or her time to you. So why I say this is not a good effect is because of the fact that you have to voice this in another way. You don't friend zone her. But what you do is more of, yeah, I'm enjoying getting to know you and I am looking for something in the future and let's see if that's you. Let's see if you're up for the challenge. Let's see if you even pass that challenge. And you make it a little bit more playful, where it's not so serious about you're looking for a relationship or, you just want to be her friend, because then you're playing games at this point and it's just not gonna make her challenge and make you as a challenge. And this is the way that we want her to see you. This is how women start to think about you and create that desire and think about you and not any other guy out there. So this brings me into the next tip, the challenge effect. Now, you have to look at this woman that you're dating as potential, but you also have to look at her as though you're not sure yet if she meets your needs, value, or potential. Challenge accepted. So this comes off in your language, in your communication with her. When you're not on your second date and you're like, oh my gosh, you were like no other woman that I've dated before. How do you know that on your second date? You don't know that. That's what I'm talking about, is where we kill attraction, because you're not coming in with the challenge effect. Challenge effect takes time and understanding her values, she understanding yours, and then finally when you come to that recollection, when you come to an understanding, then attraction gets easier. But how attraction gets harder is when we jump and we don't pace ourselves through it. And lastly, complimenting a woman is okay. There's so many people out there that will tell you not to compliment a woman. And let me be honest with you guys, I will never be sick of compliments. And that is speaking from a woman herself. But complimenting a woman from a place of abundance as a man has a superior effect on women in general. But complimenting a woman from lack or scarcity and your prove mentality, you're trying to prove your worth to a woman, when it comes from that energy, then it's not welcome from a woman. Because of the fact that if we choose to compliment a woman, I want you to think of it like this. Like I've told you my example in this video about what happened with me, but he complimented something that I've worked on. I also want you guys to compliment a woman, but not just on her butt or her breast or, how beautiful she is in this red, hot, tight dress. If you're trying to have that emotional effect on her, compliment her on something that you know that she's worked for. There's women out there that will tell you their stories and compliment her on that story. That's where you hit home and where you will show up as the man that she cannot stop thinking about. If you liked today's video, I challenge you to comment and tell me below. And these are tools that are going to help you in attracting women and understanding women. And I want you to try these tips and effects and tell me about them below. And as always, I have something very special for you. I have the 7 Common Mistake ebook that men make when attracting women that I want you to download so you can get good and master your skills at women. As always, I'll see you again in the next video. And remember, you are always loved. Bye.